The insurance companies are paying stimulus checks. They are.
They always have.
We should call this episode Unlimited Stimulus.
That's it. That's it.
That's the horse's name, isn't it?
That is our horse's name.
Hello and welcome to episode 18 of the Life Insurance Academy podcast. I'm your host, Austin Lopes-Severo, and I'm here with Chris Ball, Zach McElwain, and Roger Short. The LIA podcast takes you into the conversations of top producing life insurance agents so that you can level up your business. For episode notes and resources, visit liapodcast.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Life Insure Acad. Also, make sure you're subscribed to our text notifications for episode releases and agent resources. Now, all you have to do is send the letters LIA to the number 82149. That's 82149 as the recipient, and a message with the letters LIA. This episode is special because not only is it our monthly show where we discuss audience-submitted questions, but also because we're back in the studio, you guys. It's so good to see you all.
It is.
So good to see your smiling masks.
I should draw a smiley face on my mask.
Yeah, with some in your teeth.
There's some pretty scary looking masks out there on the
are,
internet.
for sure.
All those freaky looking ones.
And that's going to be a pro tip of what to have on your mask that we might cover later.
The most interesting thing that I've seen so far is the people in the car by themselves driving with the full mask. Like that's got to be
wearing
like
glasses.
A hazard. Yeah, it's got to be a hazard.
Like, I know you can't even see.
I know you're fogged up.
Austin, do you know how to make your own mask?
No.
The best material to use is commission checks. So I want to show you how to do that today.
That's good.
Well,
It puts a smile on, it makes you feel great, and it keeps everything else out. And so you don't have to worry about anything. But, you can't just buy those. You have to earn those.
now does that give you commission breath or does it block commission breath? Do you smell your own commission breath?
So that's the great thing about it is because when you're making the mask out of commission checks, you never have commission breath because you're not desperate. You don't need anything. See, when you're sitting at home using any other type of mask or not even working or just sitting at your chair staring at your computer screen on eBay, you develop a lot of commission breath.
Why did you just look at Chris?
And it can become toxic. You got to crack a window or something. It can become toxic.
We're cracking windows.
Sports ball cards.
It's like the horses.
Sports ball cards.
It's like the horses in the what's the starting gate? Does it have a fancy name or is it just the starting gate?
I think it's
the
called
Latin
the
word is
starting gate.
that's
There you
it,
go.
right there.
Yeah, I heard of that before. So it's like a jacked up horse in the starting gate, ready for them doors to open so they can, because they all have commission breath, race into that first door knock.
Bolt. Jacked up horse.
What would the horse's
For
name
them
be?
doors to open.
What would the horse's name be?
Yeah.
Limited opportunity.
My gosh.
That would,
Sounds like a
That's
negative
good.
horse name. Like
I'm
who's going to
not-
bet on that horse?
When the Derby runs September 5th.
Dude, we need
We'll
a
bet
horse.
on that.
So
we
we-
need a horse named Limited.
Is it September or October? It's September.
well, that's
September
just
5th
that's for
as of
some
now.
people. That's the craziest thing because this past Saturday would have been our Kentucky Derby here.
Good point.
In Kentucky here, and
Best weather we've had in 5 years.
yes, because it rains
I know,
every
it was
single Derby.
beautiful, man.
So that was a little sad, but at the same time, I'm glad they postponed it because it seems like half the world comes to Louisville at that time, and we would have been probably in a world of hurt.
We'd all been looking at each other.
Limited opportunity would have definitely won that race. For you, Chris, and the things we're going to talk about today, your horse is actually named Unlimited Opportunity.
I love it, dude. I love it. I can feel the wind in my hair, which hasn't been cut.
You
in 3
definitely
months.
would not be the jockey. We would have somebody else around your horse.
He said your horse. He didn't
'cause I'm
say
too
your
tall.
horse that you're riding.
It's because I'm too tall.
You are too
mostly.
tall.
He saw you as a horse owner, not a jockey there. That was
You'll be drinking the, what is it, the Twin Spires, what do they call the drink? What's the drink last year?
the Woodford Spire.
The Woodford Spire. You'll be
Yeah.
sitting that in the winner's circle.
There we go.
Yeah.
I like it.
You could change it to unbridled
I'm inspired.
opportunity.
I'm inspired
There you go.
right now.
Unbridled opportunity.
I like that, Roger. And speaking of opportunity, we've received quite a few questions around the telesales opportunity that many agents have been forced to adapt their business to, including us. Now, these questions really center around three main ideas: the workflow to contact a client, the approach and tools to sell over the phone, and then the presentation of the product to close a sale. Now, if our listeners have missed the past, 5 episodes, make sure and go back and listen to the series we're currently in on how to make the transition from face-to-face insurance sales to telesales. Now, the series starts with episode 13 and then walks you through the adaptations that agents can make to be successful. Today, we're diving into our listeners' questions that we've received throughout the series and things that our team has learned along the way. So let's get started with the first question. Is there a good time to call people and when?
The first answer to that is anytime. Because
As
anytime
long as
is
you're
better.
calling.
I almost said that.
It's better than no time, right? But if you are calling, I think we probably have some different preferences on what we found that kind of works best for me. But really, any call is better than no call. But one thing that I have
I love
found,
how he always leads with the safe answer. Last week, which carriers do you like
Both.
the best? Well, for me, it's both of them. It's all of them.
yeah, I followed that up right behind yours.
This week,
Look,
which time is the best?
See, here's how I know
anytime.
all of you are parents.
2 a.m. in the morning.
Because you give these types of answers.
That's exactly right.
That's true.
You can never be wrong. You don't want to start out wrong, right? So the first question is, yes, calling versus not calling. That is the first best time to call, no matter what. Other than that, the things that I've kind of found and adjusted, I've made calls all day, all night, middle of the night, waking up, making calls. No, it seems like it. I've had dreams about making calls, literally.
2 a.m.
But
To Chris's truck drivers and delivery pizza boys.
Yep. But I found what seems to work best for me has been the late at night. Really after 6:30, closer to 7, and I have been able to contact people and able to have a, quote, phone sit and get a sale or a conversion, and it's been later in the evening. I've also had some success early in the day, and I've been calling at all different times, so I really wanted to kind of figure out what's been best, but just based upon the apps I've gotten, it seems to be early in the morning or late in the evening.
There is something to be said for morning apps. People tend to be kind of in that, quiet mode. There's not a lot going on. The first hour or two of their morning is just kind of quiet. And then they start, okay, I need to get on with my day. I need to get out of my pajamas, if they ever do. And they start doing things that they're going to do, and they're in that mindset mode. And then by the time they get to evening or dinner, they're starting to wind down again, and they're relaxed again. So I concur. I concur with Zachary on that one.
One follow-up question to that, Zach, is what are you doing when you're not calling? How can you keep doing revenue-generating activity when you're not calling during those prime time windows, if you will?
That's a hard question because I don't see how you can say, what are you doing to try to generate revenue if you're not doing anything to try to generate revenue, right? Like you're calling. Just because they're not prime time windows, that doesn't mean that you're not going to catch anybody or it's not going to be an opportunity. Because I'll tell you one thing, these are just what I have personally found to be more successful. It doesn't mean it's the only way to succeed. And it doesn't mean this is the only time you should call. Heck, if we figure that out, we would have a big old call center on 2 shifts, one morning, one evening. That was it. And we would all go play golf during the day because we knew we had guaranteed apps at these times. Thing is, we don't know who's on the other end of that phone. We know their name, we know their address, we know what their interests are, or hobbies, maybe their beneficiary. We know basic information about them, but we don't know their personality. We don't know if they're not working on 3rd shift, on 1st shift. We don't know if they're sick, helping in the hospital. We don't know if they're helping a mother. We don't know anything about them. So I don't ever want to prejudge a lead when I'm knocking. And I don't ever want to prejudge a client when I'm calling. I have no ability to say, oh, this is Jim. He's 56. He's probably going to be down there at the corner store sitting on the porch and talking to the locals. I have no idea. So
It's a pretty good guess, though.
I've seen him. But so I don't let that stop me. Like I said, there's there's times that are more seem to be better for me, but that doesn't mean the other times I'm not calling.
One of the biggest things that we're hearing is nobody answers the phone. Like, I can't get in when they answer the phone. I don't know how to reach these leads. No one ever answers. Can't reach. Can't. And so we hear that. We're hearing that through messaging. We're hearing that through comments and questions. And you have to get creative. You have to get outside of that box. Okay, if the phone's not working, what else can we do? I mean, Chris has gotten really creative at some of this stuff. But I mean, just last evening, some leads were hitting our system. I grabbed one. It hit, literally. I'm like, I'm going to call this back within a minute and see what happens. Because we've gotten to a place now where we can, we can respond to that lead almost immediately. And I called right back, voicemail. And the voicemail said, please leave a voicemail. And if you're not going to leave a voicemail, don't call back.
Was it instant? Did it instantly go to voicemail?
2 rings, then voicemail.
Okay. Yeah, I've had some that are just pop, man, immediately go to
So
voicemail.
I'm thinking they were on the phone, probably, and just hit that, end or, dismissed call.
You caught them in the middle of that Facebook video, and they're like, let me finish, dang it.
So while I'm calling, they then hit our website and submitted a quote request. And I got an email back. While I'm dialing the number, I'm getting an email, a secondary lead source hit, because they hit our marketing, and that took them to our website, and then they hit our quote engine, and then I got the email notifications quoted. So I kept calling 5 times in a row. I could not get this lady to pick up the phone. I was like, Chris. I reached out to Chris right away. Chris, send me some of those text templates that you've been using. And he fired off 2 or 3 to me right away. I loved your fast responsiveness, by the way. It was very timely, and I appreciated it. And he got them back to me right away, and I dropped one in a text message with my own slight modification on it. And then I said, I'm going to be calling back at this number momentarily. And then nothing. And then I referenced the lead anchor that we put in our online marketing ads. I referenced that, and I said, you indicated this so that you would know who we were when we called. Nothing. I called 3 or 4 more times, nothing. So I shut it down. This is late last evening. It's 9 o'clock, and I'm leaving the office. I worked late last night, and I'm in the car. I jump in the car, ding, I look at my phone, there's the thumbs up emoji, sitting in my text. I'm like, oh, dang it, now she's expecting the call back, right? Yeah. So shut off the car, came back into the office, opened up my screens, got ready, sat down, dialed the number, straight to voicemail. I was like, man, this is so frustrating. She said, can you call? Oh, she sent me another text. Can you call me tomorrow at 10? Well, I'm doing a podcast recording tomorrow morning at 10, and I said, tomorrow morning's booked, but I have availability at 1 or 1:30 tomorrow. No reply. Again, I'm like, this lady is playing with me here. Nothing. I then took another step and grabbed a service that we're using called Calendly. And these are, where you can send out a link and people can schedule on your calendar, on your availability. You sync it with your calendar. So for those of you who don't know, this is a $19.99 tip.
Oh, there it is.
Calendly.com. So I sent this lady the link for a 30-minute meeting. And I shortened the days because I had it on for like 2 weeks previously, 10 days. And I shortened the days to only 3 rolling days. And I made sure I looked at my schedule. So I grabbed it and put it in. I said, to help you make it easier, you can select a time that's convenient for you. I sent it out. And then I forgot about it. 10 o'clock. Ding. I opened it up. Mary, Miss Mary has scheduled an appointment with you Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. You got to get creative. You got to get outside of the box. Text, email. Chris, you do some text. You do some email. What have you been doing?
I've done both, text or email. I use Calendly a lot in communicating with folks. And those are, if you get the Calendly, those are apps. If they're taking the time to fill out the calendar appointment, and it's awesome because it just shows up on your
calendar.
On your calendar.
With all their information.
Yeah. I have a little tricks up my sleeve where edit that out, please.
I love it when he gets that laugh going.
But where it has a little bit of an official vibe to it, and they're like, well, I better respond to this person, and then they set the calendar appointment and call them up, and they're ready. So I call it putting the ball on the tee.
Like Chris
That's
ball?
a sports reference for you, Austin. Sports ball,
buddy.
is that what you call it? Sports ball?
That was cricket. He was referencing cricket.
I'll tell you one thing I've been doing a lot lately, and it was kind of awkward at first, but it's pretty neat now is Zoom calls with the clients. So you call them up on digital leads. I'm not asking in them, hey, do you this or that? I send them the link with our website and our page so they can see me and see what we do and how we help people. And then they look through that, and then I tell them I'm going to send them another link, and that way that they can see me live and we talk. And regardless if they have their camera or don't have a camera or whatever their capabilities are, at least they can see me, and that has been, it's been huge to establish that trust for them just seeing me. And even though I can't see them sometimes, which is no big deal, but just seeing me and who I am as we're going through it, it makes it feel face to face, and it's paid off so far for sure.
I would say one of the biggest things that I've noticed about approaches, again, this is in response to the question like, how do you get people on the phone? I can't reach anybody, is the immediacy. So if you're working a digital lead campaign, an online lead, the sooner you can call that lead, the closer the time between when that lead was generated and you call them back, your percentages are through the roof, higher than if you wait an hour, 2 hours, a day, 2 days, 4 days. So some of our agents and some of you out there who are listening, you're used to working a direct mail lead. And direct mail leads have shelf life of 6, 8, 12 weeks.
Yeah.
We've sold leads from a year ago. They still have life in them. A digital lead becomes less urgent or less important, like with each hour that goes by, it seems. And if you can reach out to that person within the same day, first of all, your percentages are way up. I would say you have a 300 to 400% times greater opportunity to close that if you get to them within a short period of time after the lead is generated. Think about it. They're submitting a lead online. They're processing the information, going through the effort to submit. And in some cases, they're doing a double submission. Like the scenario that I explained to you earlier, they then hit our website and put a quote through. And then some people will go to the next step and submit an application online. I mean, get to that person. They're thinking about it right now. Don't wait for 3 days like you used to, because the lead came in on Friday and you're done for the day and you're like, I'll get to them on Monday. Right on Monday, their urgency and every emotion that was going through their mind when they took the time to do that on Friday, when they were home and available, that's gone. And so now you have to try to reconnect on that.
I mean, if there's an adaptation here, it's doing whatever it takes to have the conversation. And in some cases, you may get some phone numbers that may not connect to the person. Maybe it's an old phone number that they signed up for, their Facebook account. So there's all sorts of great resources like white pages. It gives you multiple phone numbers. You might talk to some people. I almost had a sale accidentally calling a wrong number, just chatting with people. But being able to, there's all sorts of opportunity there, and that's really what started the email conversation for me of doing. I mean, you have to have a mentality of doing whatever it takes to have the conversation. And some of these email responses, they'll come a couple days later because they don't check their email every day. So it may pop up. I mean, my next step may be Facebook Messenger. I don't know what the rules are on that. I think you might have to be friends. I'm not sure. You know more about these Google machines than I do, Austin. I'm one of those Gen Xers that press record on VCRs. I'm making up words as I talk. But
now, Chris,
anyway, you get the idea.
Was that the story where you tried to find that guy on white pages and you found the dude with the same exact name?
Yeah. Yes.
And you were just going through it.
Yeah, and I found
and you
out
didn't know it was not even the right guy.
Correct. Yeah, it was the wrong name, but I just kept going. Yeah, same name, wrong guy. Yeah, yeah.
If you're a part of a group that has CRM and a lead management system that has automation built in, and you're not investing in that, because most of those organizations will charge a monthly fee for you to participate in that, like, get in that. The investment is worthwhile because it takes a lot of the guesswork out of it for you and puts you in basically in a position where you can just do the work instead of doing the pre-work to do the work. Does that make sense? So don't be shy of investing in process to maximize your return.
Time is money, man.
This is different. Things have changed. The ground has shifted. So modify, adapt. So we definitely, the answer to the question on, what's one of the biggest challenges, and I would say process. The answer is you got to modify your workflow and adapt.
And I would love to hear, this is just us trying to kick it around and figure it out. I mean, I think sometimes people feel like a lead is like fine china that they're pulling out of the cabinet and I don't want to break it. You know, well, let's break it. I mean,
Yeah.
might as well.
Now, on the subject of leads, one of the questions we've received quite a bit is what are the best types of leads for telesales and where can you get them and what leads work best for over the phone?
You want me to give the generic answer first?
Sure, go ahead. Take the easy out.
Every type of lead is important.
Works. Said it at
Everyone.
the same time. We were
Yeah.
saying the same thing at the same time. Happens
Go
a lot.
ahead.
We finish each other's
Sentences.
sandwiches. That's it.
So yeah, we do get a lot of questions about that, and you know, one of the biggest challenges that I see that agents have, and again, it comes back to this question like, my leads aren't working. Direct mail is expensive right now, and I can't get to them, so I'm not going to invest in leads, and because that's been their only perspective, that's been their only experience, and they're like, why am I going to pay, you know, $30 a lead for a new direct mail lead, final expense, or more, 40, 50, 60 for a mortgage protection lead, if I can't go see these people? Like, I'm throwing my money, I got to conserve, and people go in this conservation mode in their business, like I'm going to go in a shell and hope to survive. Like, you have to modify your approach. The answer to that is modify your approach. Like, there's different types of leads, and so one of the things that we know is available, like if you're licensed in 2 or 3 states, which a lot of agents are, if you're not, like, consider getting licensed in a couple of other states. It's not that much. A lot of other states are less than $100 to get another license. And it's a reciprocal, you know, it's a non-resident reciprocal license. That's just a filing fee. The state just wants their money to say that you're licensed there. And now you can market in all 3 states. And so if you're now doing a statewide campaign where you can, like that one lead I just told you was from Gary, Indiana. I've never driven to Gary, Indiana, done a door knock in my life. That's never happened. And I wouldn't have even thought about that. And we opened up the jets on our own campaigns, and we're utilizing those leads ourselves. And so now you can call anywhere in the state. You're not restricted. When you do that, oftentimes you can generate a lower price lead, or you can acquire a lower cost lead. We certainly have those available. But you now have an opportunity to call anywhere in the state. And if you notice there's different time zones, also, you now have an opportunity to reach people. But you have to think outside of the box. You don't just need leads in your county anymore. You can go statewide and you can call anywhere. And with digital leads, they can come in real time. And if you get set up properly and you can get leads within the same day, or at least in a real-time process when they come in, you have golden opportunities to reach out. So adapt your approach, modify your approach, and increase your lead flow on a digital campaign that's statewide. You can actually get more leads for the same price as you were getting fewer leads of direct mail in a county or in a region previously. It's one of the best things that we've done.
Yeah, and like Roger said, if you have more questions about these leads and how to get them with the real-time notifications and the processes, make sure to fill out the form on the show notes page of this episode at liapodcast.org/EP18. These are the foundational pieces of your business.
Yeah.
It's the
lifeblood. It's the lifeline. Without them, you're back to make your list of 200 and start with the richest people first and start calling on them, and you have no experience. Yeah, you're back to that. So the Project 200.
Yeah, not the best way to get started, right? I do want to back up a little bit and touch on some of the setup and prep work of the telesales approach. What have you all learned when getting ready to make your calls?
Yeah, I'll go first here. First, I want to talk about the mental aspect. I know Roger and Zach have some tactical pieces here that are pretty helpful, but that mental aspect. In my neighborhood, there's a guy. I'm not going to tell you which house or his name, Brad, but I know he's working from home. Okay, but Brad has the nicest yard I've ever seen, because Brad is working in his yard every day. Every day I look out the window and Brad is doing an HGTV commercial. I mean, It is unbelievable. And the whole time I'm thinking, isn't he supposed to be working? Right? And that's the issue right now. That's the issue. I think in this day and where we're at, we have a real opportunity here to show what we're made of to ourselves, mentally, to ourselves.
What does that mean, Chris?
Well, it's the opportunity to bust through some barriers and see what we're capable of in the face of adversity. Here's the problem. I think we've made it pretty easy to not do that for one of two ways. One, on a distraction level with some shows that we can watch, some people we can hang out with. Now, it's a good... I'm not saying don't do that. I think there's some good time and place, which I had to learn.
By
as a
people,
young
you
man.
mean family.
Yeah. But I'm saying there's good time for that. There's time and place, probably more than we've ever had. So take advantage of it. But at the same time and place, challenge yourself and push through and find another gear that maybe you didn't know you had. Now, I think there's something special there. On the other side of that, another obstacle we have is bailout. Like they're finding ways to give us money, right? So that I think it's very easy to just take something and set aside your drive and your self-development, and you're challenging yourself and finding ways. I mean, to be like water and to work through the cracks and see your purpose. I mean, I get fired up just thinking about who what we can reveal about ourselves during a tough time, because there is going to be a time when things are a little easier. And all of a sudden, this knocking on a door and talking to somebody will be like nothing. It will be the easiest thing in the world because you did the hard stuff. You were willing to do the hard stuff.
Chris, I got trivia for you. You want to play a game?
Oh boy, yes. I get nervous when you do this because if it's not like a movie or Star Wars, I'm probably going to lose.
You know this one. You know this one.
Okay, go ahead.
What is the process to be able to receive a stimulus check or unemployment?
You have to fill out something or send something.
Fill out
in
an application and send it in, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
And you get some money.
Yep.
What is the process to getting a, quote, stimulus check or commission from an insurance company?
Yes, you have to fill out an application and send it in, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? But the thing is you can do that over and over again. You can send them all day long. You can just fill out applications and send them in, and you will keep getting stimulus checks from insurance companies.
The insurance companies are paying stimulus checks. They are.
They always have.
We should call this episode Unlimited Stimulus.
That's it. That's it right
That's
there.
the horse's name, isn't it?
That is our horse's name. I like
Unlimited Stimulus.
it. Zach, that's a really good point, and that's a really good way of looking at it.
Yeah, because I think we're all like this Corona hit, and the biggest side effect of Corona is called the Friday at 2. Everybody has the mindset that it's Friday at 2, and they just don't want to finish their last little task or their last sit or their whatever. They're already thinking of the weekend. They're already thinking, let me just go on cruise control for the rest of the day and be done, and the weekend starts. Except they're doing that all day, every day. Every day's Friday at 2. That's the biggest side effect of this Corona.
Yeah.
And they can't get that Monday motivation going that I got a full week. It's time to grind it out.
Yeah, the government intervention in this situation obviously is clearly needed in so many families' lives.
Yes.
So clearly. I mean,
And I get that. I want everybody to understand
we are
that.
compassionate people here. Like we've been given to causes that we never gave to before because of this, right? And so there are great people out there starting, trends of giving away their stimulus check to benefit other families who need it worse than they do. So clearly there's a need, and there's probably bigger need than the funds that are even available. However, if you have an opportunity to pick up a phone and call somebody and help them get something that they want, people are responding to requests for information on life insurance, right? But sometimes it's easier to fill out that application and send it in and say lack of work. Because it's available,
Right.
Does it make us stronger? Does it make us weaker?
That's
There's
my-
a fine line. We don't want to call anybody out. If you're in a desperate situation, take it. Make sure you take advantage of the things that you need to take care of the needs of your family. Right. So if your children and your family and you have needs greater than what you're able to produce right now, then take advantage of that. We're not saying that, but sometimes the government intervention has unintended consequences, and it's it's not even overreach. It's like overgive in some situations because there's a level of need, and that need varies, right? We hear about the PPP check and how Ruth Chris Steakhouse got like millions, right? And how Shake Shack was so embarrassed because they got so many millions that they sent theirs back, right?
The Los Angeles Lakers got
Los
the
Angeles
PPP.
Lakers, the beloved Lakers. I mean,
Yeah,
really?
they got like over $4 million, but they paid it all back.
Yeah, they pay it all back. But the fact that they're even applying and getting it means that there's breakage in that system. It wasn't designed for that, right? So as individuals who have the opportunity to pick up the phone and work through some of these things, this is what Chris is talking about. We get to determine what we're made of, and we can break through some barriers that we didn't even know existed.
That's right.
And create a new version of ourselves. It's the measure of your metal, right? My dad would say, what's the measure of your metal? What are you going to do when things are tough? Are you going to lean in, or are you going to run away? And so we encourage you to lean in. There's opportunity here.
Absolutely.
This is a great time to put that skill set, have that extra feather in your hat, because we don't know what the future is going to hold. We don't know if there's going to be another wave of this or not, or we don't know if it's going to be gone forever, or this is a new. But to be able to have the ability to excel in knocking on doors, excel in seeing clients for health insurance, excel in mortgage protection, and now have the ability in the back of your mind that you can literally be in a car, in an office, in home, at your kitchen table, anywhere, and be able to help families and make a living. Like, that's a peace of mind that can never be taken away once you gain that. And if you're not taking this time to get through that learning curve, then you're going to be far behind, because if this is all over and all the stimulus checks are run out and all the unemployment benefits are gone and it's time to get it, if there is a new, you've got to go through that learning curve anyway. You have to look for an opportunity that's going to be able to provide for your family the same, if not more, than what you're currently doing. So if you are having support, if you are maybe in a different industry or anything like that, and you're just testing the waters or looking at other opportunities, like, this is an amazing opportunity to dive in and to learn and to get through that learning curve while everything is on hold. And that way you're soaring like an eagle as soon as it's over.
Yeah. Obviously, the mindset in modifying your approach. Some of the functional things, Austin, on modifying our approach for our setup would be a couple of things that I found is super important. I mean, now that I have it, I don't know how to go back, right? I've gotten so excited about it that, we made sure everyone in the office got them now, like a second screen. You need a second screen. I mean, what is that, right? If you're operating off an iPad or a small laptop or an iPhone and you've never needed anything else to run your insurance business, and now you're trying to do telesales, to not have that second screen, you are like, you're trying to play in a football game with a pair of high tops on, and a pair of basketball shorts. It's just, it doesn't work as well.
Just a second. Now, Austin, the reason that's bad is...
I was going to say something too. You might want to re-explain that for Austin. Football?
Tell me more about this football.
So,
Mama said fit about the devil.
the second screen, man, just connecting that, and you can get these for
you
a
all
couple.
thought I was working in the Matrix this whole time with my 3 screens.
And the ones that
now
you can
get-
flip to go vertical even, and you're looking at the matrix, and I was like, why does Austin have all these screens? Now that I've got 2 large screens that I'm working from, and I can have multiple browsers open, multiple windows open, I can have like the scripts
Fox
up.
News, Netflix, and YouTube TV.
That's Brad. Brad's got those going. Brad's got those going inside the office while he's manicuring
We're never
the
going to
outside
get a call
of the
from
office.
Brad. No Brad will ever call us.
It's not about
The
you,
second
Brad.
screen is unbelievably valuable because you need the real estate to open up your resources that you need
Yeah.
to use. I mean, we have a telesales website that we've created for all agents who work with us, and we have lead sources on our documents, and we have scripts, and we have all these different things, and now you can see them all, and you don't have to have 8 million papers
all in one spot
sitting around, and you're trying to figure out which paper it is, and then your power goes out in your iPad, and then you're toast.
Big shout out to you, Austin. That thing is amazing. You seamlessly click through it, and it's like you're sitting with me in my sit, and hey, can you get this application out of my car? Hey, will you get me another pen? Hey, will you...
Telesales dashboard on the back.
You're in every sit with me, Austin. I appreciate that.
So
beautiful work.
How you can, listeners, how you can modify your approach. First of all, get yourself a second screen. Invest in yourself. Yeah, you're going to have to spend a little bit of money. You don't need another computer. Just add a screen, connect it with HDMI, YouTube that stuff, or call us and we'll help you. And give yourself an option to plug into a company that has some resources. So if you're out there solo and you don't have this, reach out to us. We have tons of great resources available. We have a telesales back-end portal on our website that's phenomenal. And so it has been a lifesaver. It's made our process so simple. So
headsets work as well.
Yeah, they do.
Headsets, it puts you in the zone. It's right there in your ears. You can talk comfortably. You can stand up. You can do touch your toes, whatever you need to do.
Just don't touch your face.
Right?
Right.
And it makes it easy because sometimes if you're at home, you're like, well, I like to do my calls on speakerphone, but there's people here. I don't want them to hear. Maybe I shouldn't do my call. Maybe I'll wait till they leave. Maybe I'll wait till they go on a walk,
And if you have to ground your kid from their Xbox to use their headset, do it.
Just find a reason.
You got to put food on the table.
Find a reason. Yeah, those Turtle Beaches, man, they're legit.
Hey, son, I like those the headsets you got there. Oh, yeah, they're awesome, Dad. Give me those.
You're grounded. Give me them.
Austin, what do you recommend as far as a basic headset setup? You have a brand and a product or a couple of options?
I'm sure he does.
I'll put them in the show notes. Logitech makes them. You can get a ton of different types. You can get wired, so you don't have to worry about the battery. You can get wireless if you like to walk around while you talk and do that. But we can put them in the show notes.
Plantronics, I think, is also another. Yep. They produce a great product.
Yeah. AirPods.
Lots of sponsor
That's a good reason to have a write-off for your AirPods.
There you can write all
There's
this
a
off.
Tax exemption now, guys, to get yourself a nice new computer and some AirPods.
But I will say, just in the notes, whatever, I do think headphones are better than AirPods.
Okay.
Yeah, just from my experience.
Yes.
They're clearer and it kind of...
Less
I feel like
douchey.
I don't have to talk as loud.
Noise-canceling headphones put you in workspace.
Yes, it does.
It allows you not to hear your kids saying, Dad, you want to watch Avengers? You want to build a snowman?
I have a slight different opinion on noise canceling. It makes me feel like I'm trapped in a submarine, and it gives me a headache. So I like the headphones that are nice little pads on them, but the noise canceling drives me crazy.
Oh, I love them. It puts me in work zone. It gets me there.
And we'll add some apps that you can also put on your computer. Roger, I know the screen blew your mind. I'm going to give you an app. It's called Magnet or Spectacle.
Ooh.
I have some keyboard shortcuts, and I can just put Windows on half of the screen.
Get out of
Just
here.
move stuff super fast.
Cool.
If you're like Roger, every time I come into his office, he has 38 tabs. And he's like, my computer's running slow, and I don't know why. It might be all these tabs.
I'm learning,
There's
Austin.
an app called One Tab, and you can click that, and it puts it in a list, and you can just relaunch those tabs exactly where you left them.
Dude, I had no idea. I'm excited. Just keep talking.
We'll put those apps, and all of this is designed to make you more efficient, to get the things you need
Time is
in
money.
that moment. Anything else on the approach to modify? I know the last 2 episodes we talked about carriers, some best carriers for telesales. If you've not listened to that, definitely go check that out because modifying your approach of the carriers you would have in your bag for door-to-door versus having them in your bag for telesales is very different, and just your capability of how much you can write, how you can write it, and then what they cover.
It's definitely a part of modifying your approach, but I think we covered it thoroughly in those previous 2 episodes. So go back and listen to those 2.
Yeah, the theme of all this is simplify, keep everything easy. So, anything we can do to help you guys with resources, with carriers, with leads, anything to speed up a process, And that was the whole purpose of it. That's why we had those carriers on there, because we want to make this smooth and easy for everyone, for the agent, for the new agent, for the experienced agent, for the client on the other end of the phone call. Every aspect of it, we wanted to be smooth and easy, so it's comfortable and quick.
And if you're a manager, if you have an agency, we work with a lot of agencies. We work with individual agents, groups. We have tools that can help you at all levels. And I want you to know that Life Insurance Academy and the Life Insurance Academy podcast is a resource for anyone. We want it to be an open source of information and value, and we want to bring value to people at all levels. And obviously right now, the reason why we spend 5 or 6 weeks on telesales is because that's where we are in this world right now. And so we're trying to keep this relevant, but we have lots of tools, as Austin said, that can help you. Regardless if you're brand new coming in, if you're an experienced agent who's struggling to transition, if you're an agency manager who's struggling to keep their agents on point, whatever that is. If you're a group that needs some new carriers or tools, we have those available. So we want to be a resource for you.
Now, we've also gotten a lot of questions around objections and obstacles agents are getting right now. And a lot of these are new in this telesales realm. What are some of the challenges that you all have experienced during your calls?
Yeah, and I say with this, we are all adapting and we are learning new things, and we're getting new objections, especially if we don't spend every day on the phone and haven't spent every day on the phone before this. One of the biggest ones for me was gathering that initial attention at the beginning of the call and being able to maintain it past the first 30 seconds without getting a click or I'm not interested or just anything in the world. Because that's the most frustrating for me, is not even having that opportunity. Mm-hmm. So what I've kind of done or adapted to overcome that is, towards the beginning of the call, I want to answer the 3 questions that are in their mind immediately, but I don't want to rush and I don't want to panic and go through it, because anytime they don't understand you or they don't hear you, they automatically assume scam. Yeah, right. So I want to let them know who I am, who I'm with, and why I'm calling. As I'm answering those, I immediately say, Miss Jones, I need to go ahead and verify some information we have here. I have your address as 22214, and I start verifying all of their information immediately. And then it seems to provide credibility and understanding for them, and they seem to kind of calm down, and their answer isn't, who are you, what are you with, why are you calling me, because that's already been addressed. Their answers are, yes, that's correct. Yes, that's correct. So it makes me sound really official. So I go through the address. I go through their email address. I verified the phone number that I'm dialing. Is that a home or a work phone? I'm verifying their birthday. I either tell them, happy late birthday to you, or, oh, it looks like you have a birthday coming up, just to throw a little bit of that in there. And I always want to finish up with the beneficiary or the hobby or whatever the qualifier is. I finish with that last, because at that point, I'm able to kind of move into a trust building phase of the call and talk a little bit about that. But I've already established a little bit of credibility and referenced of who I was, and I got through that first couple minutes. But the biggest advice is to not speed through that and be clear, because like I said, the moment they understand you, they don't understand you. They assume it's a scam and they're ready to hang up. That's been huge for me, because I've got a lot of those hang-ups quick.
Chris, I know you have changed even the way you introduce yourself a little bit. You found some ways work better than others. We use the term senior benefit services because it's generic across our platform, especially if you're in the final expense space. Obviously, with mortgage leads, we're not saying senior benefit services, but the way you've introduced yourself, you found a modification that's really helped.
Yeah, I will say, hello, Roger. My name's Chris, and I'm an underwriter. I mean, I might just say underwriter. I've adapted a little bit of this, or I'm an underwriter with senior benefits services. And the thing I started to think through, and I think this helps for everybody who's calling, is just to have a little empathy. That's it. Just, what do you experience when you answer the phone? And it's not just scam. I mean, they do think scam, but they think, more often than not, they're getting hit with telemarketers, and we can't sound like a telemarketer. And when I get that click, man, I was talking to my wife about it, and I said, man, I would much rather have a door shut in my face than a phone hung up on me. I don't know why, but that feels different to me. It feels far more dismissive. The click, I can hear the ding, like on the old phones back in the day. But I wanted to give a little something that sounded different than a telemarketer. Hey, I'm Chris. I'm an underwriter with Senior Benefit Services, and a little bit ago you had requested some information. I'm sorry it took so long for us to connect with you. I just need to verify some information so we can get that out to you. That's it. So when they hear underwriter, I think it perks their ears up. But this is interesting. You had a couple of modifications of going through the they're confirming their information.
Yeah, I'll say, hey, are you Mr. Austin?
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Austin, how you doing today?
Doing pretty good, I guess. Who are you?
Good. Hey, Mr. Austin, my name is Zach. I'm with Senior Benefit Services. And the reason I'm calling you Mr. Austin is you recently filled out a request online through Facebook, I believe, about more information on the state-regulated final expense and life insurance programs here in Kentucky. And I just need to verify a little bit of information here. We have you at 123 Main Street. Is that right?
Well, I just moved, but yeah.
Okay. So we need to update your address. What is your new address?
It's 123 non-Main Street.
Non-Main Street. Perfect. Is that still in Germantown?
Yep.
Perfect. Same zip code as well?
Yeah.
Okay, and then we got your email address here as themanalways@hotmail.com. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is.
So you're verifying information early.
I do, very early. And after I go through that, and I'll say, now also it says that your hobby here is, coding. Is that computer related or whatever it is, right? And then that allows me to have a little bit of that core opportunity. And then I start talking about how often they do that, and then have they been protecting themselves against COVID? Which one of the family members is the designated grocery getter? And I bring my personality into this because I don't want to be dry telemarketer. I just need to verify information from you. Like, I try to be as friendly and as fun as I possibly can. I want to bring a positive energy, a spark, a happiness through the phone. And just bring that energy to them. And that allows me to then start talking about their family and their kids and how they're doing with COVID and what's the first thing they're going to do as soon as this is over. And then after I talk about that briefly, because I don't want to spend 20, 30 minutes on this. This is my round one of trust building. Then I'll just go in again. I said, like I said, Mr. Austin, my name is Zach McElwain, and I'm with, and I go through that kind of again, and then I start moving through the rest of the script. And those are my talking points, but I'm making it flow as a conversation, and I continue to build trust throughout as I go through it. That has been the biggest adaptation that I have done since starting calling, because I was personally having issues where I would go through it and I was getting those immediate hangups. That was my biggest objection.
Yeah, one of the things that is another modification on that, Zach. I know you open. You said, "Hi, how are you?" I've actually even moved away from that because sometimes people are like, "Who are you? What's this for?" Right. It gives them an opportunity to come back on you. I know my personality wants to say that, and I have said it. Trust me, because it's just in my nature, but. One of the things I find myself doing lately is just saying, yes, Mr. Austin. My name is Roger Short. I'm a state licensed underwriter with Senior Benefit Services, and I'm following up with you on your request for information on the state-regulated final expense plans. I believe you submitted a request just this morning online, and you referenced that Sarah was your beneficiary or Mary was your beneficiary when you indicated that, or you indicated, red was your favorite color or your hobby, whatever the lead anchor is we put on that marketing piece. And then that brings some familiarity. Yes, that was me. Okay, great. And I just assumed that they know that. You referenced this so I could mention that in the call. Now, I want to go ahead and confirm your information to make sure we got everything correct for your records. So I'm opening with the word yes. I like opening with the word yes because it gets people hearing the word yes. And then when I'm confirming is this your address? Yes. Is this your zip code? Yes. I'm getting them into a yes mode. And then that allows for the conversation to open up. They relax. They make the connection as to why you're calling. The whole goal here is not to deceive anyone. The whole goal here is to bring something to them where there's value in why you're on the phone and they don't detect scam. right? They're not ruling you out as scam, as a telemarketer that's just calling randomly, or someone trying to sell you an extended warranty for the 800th time today on your car or your student loans or whatever it is. You're just trying to move past that. So that first part is key. And if you implement some of those tricks, I think you'll find that that modification in your approach really, really helps. One of the other challenges that I've had, guys, is when you have multiple decision makers, or you've got a husband and a wife. And normally when you go to the door, you say, is Mrs. Williams home? No, she's not home right now. Well, what time will she be back? I'll swing back when she's here. Guys, what do you do when you're in that situation on a phone call and you don't know if there's a spouse, because on our leads, digital leads, we don't ask for a spouse. And so how have you guys been handling that?
Well, I was frustrated with myself the first time because I got all the way through and realized that they had a significant other when I've already spilled too much of my beans, right? And that then they start deciding if it's worth it or if they're going to do it right then and there. And the one thing I don't want is them to go to their wife and say, "Hey, he's got life insurance for $10,000 for so and so a month," because it's not about that. I started asking at the end of my beginning opening paragraph after I verify information. Now, were you looking for information on this just for you? Is there a significant other or a spouse or somebody else involved as well? So that has been added to the beginning of that, so I don't get burned.
You're saying at the verification part?
At the end of the verification part.
That's what I've done.
After I talk about the hobby and I talk a little bit about COVID and the family and who's the designated grocery getter, and then that's my transition back into the rest of the script. Was now I have here, we have you looking for information. Is there a spouse or a significant other or someone else you're also looking for information on as well? And if the answer is no, then I'm moving forward. If the answer is yes, I want to make sure they're available, that we can go through this together and see if it gets you qualified at the same time, or I will schedule an appointment that we need to set another time, either a Zoom call or a meeting or a Calendly or whatever you want to do at that point, to where you have both of them there. Okay, it's just like filing your taxes jointly. They don't know if you had to do it single or together, so I want to make sure if it's a couple, I'm going to have them together.
I had one about a week and a half ago on a Friday afternoon, and lady answered the phone. Lead hit like within a couple of hours. Called back, got her on the phone, did the verification. She confirmed everything. I was having trouble hearing her at first, and I asked if she could put it on speakerphone, or if she was on speakerphone, and she put it on speakerphone, and I could hear her so much better. So I don't know what was up with that. So then that allowed me to connect a little bit better. As we got moving through it, I asked if there was someone else, if there was a spouse that she was wanting to cover or significant other. She goes, "Yeah, my husband. Is he home?" "No, he's not home, but he'll be home in a little while." Okay, great. So now I have a decision to make, right? Do I proceed or not? Well, he'll be home in a little while. I'm thinking, if this goes well, he'll be home by the time I'm done. And so I said, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ask you some pre-qualifiers, and if you can answer for him as well on the pre-qualifiers, because I wanted to know if her husband was in a completely different health scenario as she was. And I said, you can just answer yes or no, because I'm sure you're pretty aware of his health. And she goes, yes. And I said, now, if we decide to proceed with an application, I will need to have him answer some more detailed questions, but this is just to give us an overview of a direction to take. And that allowed me to get through the pre-qualifier and get confirmations that they were both in decent health, and I was able to move through. And so when I got down to the part where, okay, now I'm going to pick a carrier and go through it, I asked her all the health questions, and when I was done asking, I said, now, would your husband have answered no to all those as well with that carrier? And she said, yes, I think so. I said, is he home yet? He just pulled in. So within a short period of time, I said, if you can get him on the phone and just let him know what we've been doing here today, and I'm just going to confirm some things. I said, is this something that you are going to proceed with, or do you we'll need to talk about this together? She goes, well, I'm sure we'll need to know the pricing and everything, but no, we can make a decision. I said, well, if you can bring him on, that'd be great. And so when he came in, I said, she goes, here. I said, if you can bring him on so I can introduce myself, that'd be great. And they brought him on, and then the three of us were on a speakerphone call. They were together. And I introduced myself and, let them know who we were, where we were, and that they had all the information, a website, my contact info, and that her that his wife had answered no to all these questions, and I understand you're trying to, is that right? I understand you're trying to look for these life insurance benefits. Yes. Okay, great. Can I confirm your answers to these questions? She answered no, but I just wanted to verify. So then I did the appropriate thing, and we had him on speakerphone for the rest of the way. And then I said, well, let me go ahead and then get you some pricing. And so when I got to the pricing part, we were able to get confirmation. And I said, well, I'm going to start with Linda. I said, if you need to do a couple things, you can. I'll come back to you in a minute, and we'll get you finished up. Because I needed, signatures or e-signatures or voice signatures from both of them independently. So I did her and then did him. So it worked great that I was able to get them on the phone together. I've done that twice now and got the spouse or significant other just in the past week, and both of them had very positive outcomes. So when there is another influencer, another decision maker, and you're in a, from our experience, it's good to have that other person in play. Now, I know call centers will say, just charge ahead, focus on the one you got on the phone, do a small policy benefit, and then once you get it all done, then ask for the referral. I mean, there's some approaches like that. I've just found that what I'm doing feels more comfortable to what we've always done, even in face-to-face sales.
And to be fair, we've adapted. I mean, and that is the theme of this call is adaptation. And I think we said similar things, about getting the quick app and then trying to move forward. But it is interesting. It feels like the more we're doing this, it feels more like who we are as an organization and how we approach it. Mm-hmm. And we're finding ways forward with it, and it's working for us. So
yeah, I mean, there's going to be agents that have different approaches and processes. These are just some tips from us of how we've done it. So if you have questions like a lot of agents out there do, these are some of the things that we've been doing.
On the so you mentioned briefly that you do pricing. How do you approach that pricing, whether it's for an individual or for a couple, to not blow them away?
So, this is probably one of the most sensitive and difficult and challenging pieces to navigate. So this part and getting confirmation on this, and then also getting like banking information and social security numbers.
Yeah, over the phone.
So these are probably three of the most sensitive areas, and agents struggle with this. I know, this is where it's going to be tested, whether you've done enough trust building, and you have enough credibility, and you've done enough tie downs to move forward properly.
Let me say, and you're probably going to get to it, so I'm probably stealing your thunder here.
It's okay.
But the things that have helped me the most on the trust building is the website, the personalized website that I have and all our agents have with our organization. That is a page that shows my face and it shows our carriers, that I send them through text or email that they can see. I ask them to hit the link. Boom. I said, there you see my face. Some people say I look like Brad Pitt. Some people say Drew Carey. You get to decide for yourself.
I would say neither.
We'll say Brad Pitt. So that has been one key piece. The other part is where I have said before, write down my license number, but now I send them a direct link to the state of Indiana or state of Kentucky and show them my license number from the State Department. So that has been a big difference for me in gaining trust. But those two tools, man, are cha-ching.
Yeah,
money.
That's credibility. Because a lot of this, when it comes down to the sensitive information, I think the banking information and the Social Security number is sensitive to trust. Pricing, though, is a different piece. It is a different piece. And so setting expectations of pricing up front, establishing what they're looking for, and then setting appropriate expectations of what they need is paramount. So if you haven't done any investigation into any other policies that they have, like, you're missing a big piece of the picture. So you got to uncover some of that information, and we teach agents how to do that in the home. It's no different on the phone, right? You've got to get to a place where what other insurance do you control that you own yourself that might have a life insurance benefit attached to it, or is a life insurance benefit for your family? And what is that for? Well, I have another one. It's for $50,000. Is that a term policy or a whole life policy? And what did you take? What was that designed for? What's that made to cover? And so I've had many conversations over the phone where people have had $20,000, $40,000, $50,000 life insurance policies. And when I asked them what that's for, they said, well, it's for life insurance for my family, right? And so we have to dial back in on the same things. Well, did you intend that to go to help your family living expenses and cost of living without your income? Is that what that was designed for? And then they say yes. So I'm assuming you also don't want to have them have to pay for a funeral benefit out of that, which is going to reduce that amount of money that they have to live on. So is that why you're looking for this additional benefit? So I'm trying to clarify, right, and set appropriate expectations of what this benefit is. Because if it's just vague, they may think they need it or they may think they don't need it, right? Mm-hmm. So I have to identify what that is. So I have to set expectations of what that amount is, what's it designed to cover, and then if there's two of them involved, budget, right? If they're on Social Security and they're in the senior bracket, they're 70 years old, I'm going to talk to them about, is your only income? Because I found out early in our presentation, because of our script, if they're on a pension, if they're on Social Security, it's a part of our script. And if they're just on Social Security, I'm going to say, well, how much do you draw each month? But you can only ask that after you develop trust and establish this. And they tell you, now, do you get that on the third of the month or one of the Wednesdays? Now, do you get that deposit directly in your bank account or on a direct deposit card? And so it helps you identify which carriers, and so that's going to lean to pricing and how you're going to process this, and then their affordability. It's also going to tell you about their affordability. If they're making less than $1,000 a month, I'm not going to propose a $20,000 policy. If they're 75 and they smoke, it's just not going to happen. I'm going to price a $6,000, an $8,000, and maybe a $10,000 at most for cremation or burial. And I'm going to set that expectation as to why I'm doing that. It's better for me to give a low option in there as a choice that they can make, rather than feel like they can't choose any of the ones I gave them because it's out of their budget, and now I've put them in an uncomfortable position to say yes. So it all comes down to setting pricing expectations. Relative to any of the other sensitive information, Social Security number or their bank account information, if you haven't developed trust up front, like, this is an awkward question. If you ask too early, it's an awkward question, and it might shut down.
You shouldn't ask on the first part of the call. Hi, my name's Chris. What's your Social Security
number? And I
number?
just need to verify a few things.
Another thing I like to try is I try to guess their Social Security number. Now, this makes the call very long, but I'm going to get it, man.
Because it's at 1,000 guesses?
Yeah.
So one of the... It all goes back to trust. A great way to verify banking information that gives people a sense of comfort. One of the tools that we use is to verify their bank as a qualifying bank for direct payment, for an ACH payment. And one of the ways to do that is like, now, can you let me, we ask, so one of the ways that I ask is, are you on Social Security, disability, pension? Great. Now, when they set you up on Social Security, did they have that set up to go pay to your bank account or a direct express card? And, that's paid to my bank. Well, fantastic. Now, does your bank offer you any accidental insurance? Is your bank a credit union or a traditional bank? It's a traditional bank. Okay, the reason I ask is because credit unions will often offer accidental life insurance, accidental death benefit, for just a couple dollars or for free just for having an account open. So I wanted to address that in case you had one of those and thought that was regular life insurance. Who is your bank? Now, do you see how I'm getting the name of the bank? Mm-hmm. And, my bank is PNC, or it's Fifth Third, or it's Chase Bank, or, First National, or whatever your bank is. Well, great. Now when we come down to the back end and I'm asking for their banking information for the application, now I'm saying, I want to make sure that First National is a qualifying bank for payment on these policies. I'm going to go ahead and verify your routing number and transit number at your bank. And you're searching First National Bank. You're Googling it. You're using the Google machine, First National Bank, and you're putting in, Indianapolis, Indiana, or you're putting in Fishers, Indiana, or you're putting in Thibodaux, Louisiana, or, Austin, Texas, wherever that is. And you will typically pull up the 9-digit routing number. And you may say, now they have a couple of routing numbers here, but is your bank 084-222-1342? Is that the number on the lower left corner of your check? Yes, it is. Well, they're a qualifying bank. Great. Now, can you go ahead and give me the associated account number with that also? So now they're like, they know my routing number, and I've already had the bank name, so it's in stages that I'm getting this information. It doesn't feel like I'm abruptly asking for the account number. It makes the transition better, easier, more credible.
That's really good. And again, one other thing that I try to do is I try to guess their bank account number too. So again, it makes the call really long if you're doing both, but just be prepared to pack a lunch.
Yeah.
It could take a while.
Yeah.
Now, as we wrap up, the last question we have is around closing. What's the best way to close over the phone, or what have you all done to close over the phone?
The biggest adjustment for me is, one thing that I love to do and love to teach in the home is the nonverbal closing techniques of assuming the sell and continuing to move forward. So those could be body language, that could be just how you present prices, show prices, circle prices, pull out the application, start filling it out. Like, we don't have that luxury when we're on the phone. So the one thing we need to do is set expectations. Every comment you're making is moving forward. And you really have to train your mindset to be ready for closing. A lot of people that I've even heard on the phone, they do everything great. They connect with the client. They go through everything. But then their mindset shifts when it comes to the end, and they almost take their foot off the gas, and they're just asking, or they're waiting, and waiting is asking for the sale, you're just waiting for them to say, okay, Mr. Chris, we're ready to apply for our benefit here.
Can you please start filling out an application on the other end of the phone?
You can't do that. So you need to understand this. If they've made a request for information, that means they understand how important life insurance is, they need a coverage, and they are going to buy no matter what. So all my job is to get to know them, find out exactly what they need, exactly what they want, and I know 1,000% that they're getting an application. That has to be first in my mind. And as we're doing that, the conversation's always we need to do this. We're going to make sure, like, these cues are always assuming the sell. And then, great, now all we got to do is ask you a few questions. We got to see what you might be able to even qualify for. Go through the underwriting portion. You're asking the questions. You're going to qualify for this. We're going to get you approved here. So it's a process all the way through from the beginning. And then you pull open the application and you start moving forward. If it's an e-app, if it's a paper app, whatever the process is, you're starting to gather that information and you're moving forward. It's almost a shocking surprise if they say, hey, wait, we don't want to apply today. But you're not really going to get that. If you're doing everything else right, the biggest speed bump or hurdle you'll have to overcome is yourself from taking the foot off the gas and then getting to the call and just having that awkward pause and that wait. Like, they want it. If they could do it on their own, don't you think they would have done that before they filled out this request? Yes, they would have had this years ago. Their family would have been already protected. So you can't leave that gap. You can't be scared. You can't be the unsecure salesperson that Chris talks about. Like, you have to move forward, and it needs to be a shock if they absolutely don't. And you won't have any problems with that.
And you have to have a good script. And I will say there's some pieces in our script that I really like. There's a spot in here where it talks about I don't want to say an illusion, but it's a partnership of control where I'm handing them some control, where I will say, now what I want to talk to you about exactly who I am, what these plans do, and how you can qualify for them. And then you can tell me what to do from there. Okay?
Okay.
Great. So after that point, I explain who I am. I'm a state licensed underwriter. What that means is I'm the decision maker. I love that line in that, man. That's such a good line.
It's powerful.
Yeah, I am the decision maker who will determine whether or not you qualify. So, Austin, this is as a new to sales, kind of. I mean, you've been kind of a fly on the wall through this, and you're probably the best salesperson in the room now. But when you hear that, why is that powerful?
Because I know I'm talking to the right person.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have to worry about, I know it can happen now.
Yeah, that's one part of it. And here's the other part. Did you like that? Here's the other part is you aren't confused that you think you're the decision maker. That's where 90% of the issue comes up. Yeah, see?
One of the other biggest pieces on closing and finishing out is Chris had said, Zach had said, this is all about setting expectations all the way along, right? This is, some people say, well, every time I go to close, I give them prices, then I get objections. I don't know what the problem is. It's because we didn't lay the proper groundwork as we're coming through. We talk about tie downs, we talk about micro agreements. These are things that you need as you move through. So very early on in our script, we say, now, if we can qualify you today, we find that you're eligible and we can get you approved for one of these plans, I'm going to go ahead and send you all of the documentation on the plan that we applied for and send you the information on the pricing and who we are. So you have all of that information, all my contact information. And then 3 or 4 days after that, you should receive the package from the actual carrier who's actually underwriting and providing the plan benefits. And you'll have that in about 7 to 10 business days. You'll have all of our contact information from the plan and from me as your benefits advisor, agent here in Indiana or wherever you are. Does that make sense? Great. All right, let's move forward. So you're already telling them what they're going to receive after they apply, right? You're not saying, you're not leaving that till the end. You've told them that up front, that this is what we're going to do, and then when you do and we get you qualified, this is what you're going to get, and then this is what you're going to get from the carrier. So it's planting seeds of confidence and expectation all along the way. That way, when you get down to the end, you're not, do you want to apply now? You're not stopping. You're going to keep moving forward and take the application. One of the other things that I find is really beneficial is that you let them know you work with multiple carriers and you have access to all the best plans and benefits in the state. And like Chris said, I'm the decision maker that's going to determine your eligibility based on your health profile and age. And one of the things that I always say, the third piece of that, what we're looking for, is based on affordability. Because the third component of this is not only does it meet your need, and it's going to provide that benefit for your family, but it also has to be affordable for you. Because if we put something in place that's too high, then there's no point in even starting it. So that's a major concern of ours, and that's a benefit of me not working for the plan benefit provider. So I'm not trying to upsell you on anything, but I am going to make sure it's affordable for you. Now, you told me that your Social Security was this. So these are the plans I'm recommending and why. And now I'm going to run these quotes for you to let you know with carriers based on your health and age that we have actually about 12 different options. And this is going to be the best one for you that's going to give you the most coverage and benefits for your family for your price that we need to hit and make sure. So we have other options that I can give you. They're going to be a little higher than this one. And if you search around, you're going to find the same thing. This one's going to be the absolute best plan for you, and here's why. Now, let me tell you about that company, and here's some additional features and benefits of who they are.
Moving forward.
And okay, great. So I'm going to go ahead and start filling this out. Now, which one of those options am I putting in here for your application? And one other thing, and this is the Columbo kind of thing, one other thing, I do want to let you know that you're in full control of this. And at first, when we first started discussing this, and we talked about it about a month ago in one of our approaches, I was reluctant to give people an out. Are you applying? You're applying for life insurance, right? Yeah. We wanted to tie that down so hard. And pretty much all my life insurance career has been that way. But one of the things I found with phone sales is that people still need to know that after this is over, they have an out or they still have options. And I let them know that you have a 30-day provision in there where we can make a benefits change. We can go up or down in the amount of coverage that you're qualified for. So you can apply for the lowest one of these to get you started. And then if you and your wife want to discuss later and you wanted to maybe go up to 15 or 20,000, you can certainly do that. You can also make beneficiary changes at any time. The 5 guarantees of all these plans, and I'll list through the 5 guarantees of all final expense plans. The price can't change, the benefit's not going to go down, can't be canceled, and pays out to your beneficiary, those sort of things. I reiterate those, but then I say, but these are controls that you have. So, and you can cancel at any time. I do let them know that. You can cancel at any time. You are in control of that. And you even have 30 days to make any modifications up or down in the benefit. So I just want to let you know that you have certain guarantees and controls that are in your place, that are in your favor, and this is the best company and why. All right, so you're on 221, non-Main Street, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let them know that I'm filling out the application audibly, verbally, because they can't see me doing it, and I'm going to assume that sale and move forward and close. So this telesales experience has been unique, to say the least, and how people are navigating it and the questions that agents have revolve around this new process. And so you do have to modify your workflow. You have to modify your approach, and you certainly got to modify your presentation. Be adaptable to change and find out what your metal is made of.
That's a wrap for today's show. Make sure to check out the Cliff Notes for today's episode, and we packed a lot of information on there, including links to the resources and tools we talked about today. Also, if you're looking for leads or more training and support in your telesales journey, we put up a form that you can quickly fill out so that we can get you more profitable during this crazy time. The link to that page is liapodcast.org/EP18. That's liapodcast.org/EP18. As always, thanks so much for listening to the Life Insurance Academy podcast. If you enjoyed this podcast, make sure to subscribe wherever you're listening, rate us 5 stars, and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Life Insure Acad. Or subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave us a comment. We'd love to hear how this is helping you. The Life Insurance Academy podcast is produced and mixed by me, Austin Lopes-Silvero. Our theme song is by Flashing Lights. We hope to connect with you soon. Until next episode, stay healthy and go be a difference maker.